Okay, so the reason we had the paperwork, right, when we had the big word application is that we firmly believe that this isn't an initiative that you apply for it and you get it, right? So we didn't want it to be you apply and you get, because there's no value in it. We don't want to make it impossibly hard. We just want to be fair and transparent, and the success criteria do that. So the way the process works is that when you can say yes to everything here, you submit your application form to us online, and you've already submitted your self-evaluation documents. And then somebody will screen it. I'm wondering, I don't have slides on this, but somebody will screen it. And we really, so your application is reviewed before anybody visits your school. So before, we had a big application, loads of detail, and we didn't send people out to visit schools unless we were really confident they should be getting the flag. So we did a lot of investigation there. So to remove the barrier of the paperwork, we had to take all the written work out. So our difficulty then is we could be sending people out to schools that just aren't off the correct standard. And when we send somebody out to schools, the children are so excited and enthusiastic, and there's an expectation there, and we want this to be a positive initiative. So the payback is the paperwork is gone, but you need to put your active school flag activities on your school website. So when we decide whether you're ready or not for the active flag, it will be on the basis of your paperwork, but more importantly on the basis of your website and the information that you've shown us. So that's probably the next slide, this one. Now we were kind of wondering how that would go down with teachers, because I'm not the best at IT, and I'm so deliriously happy that all these guys are sorting out slides and videos today. So that is an imposition, and I don't know how schools in Italy, Lithuania, Iceland, Northern Ireland and Spain are, but some Irish schools are brilliant at IT and others are not so good at IT. So we were hoping that it wouldn't be a deterrent, and actually it hasn't been. Schools are embracing it, and it's made them look at their website and how they portray their information. And I suppose what we're saying to them is your website, yes, it's evidence, but more importantly, it's your showcase. So you showcase your parents, your other schools in the area, the inspectorate, showcase the work that you are doing. And that's the way they're seeing it. Oh yeah, there is hassle and you do have to look at it, but it is a showcasing. And it's also a really good method for schools to exchange best ideas and best practice. And that's the website. So this website, I might open this up. These icons will open up to a sample website. For us, the website has to be broken into 4 different parts. And we give schools guidelines as to what we need to see on the website. And generally the missing bit is the PE bit, what schools are doing in the curriculum area PE. So there needs to be 4 areas, and I'll just open them up briefly and scroll down really fast, and in your own time you can have a look at it. And feel free to chat, because I've been talking for a while. Okay, please open. Okay, so this is just blank. Oh, here it is. Okay, so this is just a small country school, and I've noticed your schools are huge by comparison to ours. Our schools are very, very small. So this is a small country school, and this is the PE section on their website, which is really like they're showing what they're doing. So they're explaining what they're doing in athletics. They have some photos up. They're showing their fundamental movement skills of jumping and throwing, which is what a lot of Irish schools are working on at the moment. But they're also showing what they're doing in aquatics, they're showing what they're doing in gymnastics, they're showing what they're doing in games, and they're showing what they're doing in outdoor and adventure. So they're showing our school teaches the 6 PE strands. This is what we're doing. And as a mum, I know that anytime any of my children appear on a website, they are delighted with themselves. You know, if they're the back row of the choir in a photograph 50 meters away, they'll find, so it's very affirming for children to see themselves recognised. As a parent, I know what's happening in the school. So if you look at that, you can see that school, we're very confident that that school are delivering a broad and balanced PE curriculum. And therefore, therefore we can have consistency in the schools that we award the active flag. I'm going to cross my fingers now and hope that I can get back to the second link. This one, the physical activity. I won't go through all 4 of them, but this is what schools are doing, and this is what's making the assessment process very easy for us now. So this is physical activity. They came up with a slogan. This is the Run Around Europe initiative. We promoted this with schools during European Week of Sport last year, and the Irish schools love it. Lots of cross-curricular learning, but they're just showing that they ran to Kazakhstan 7,000 kilometres away. So maybe we might have a look at that map, because this is a really easy thing to start with. So we gave them a map of Europe, which teachers love for the geography learning potential. Okay, so we gave them the map. From a geography point of view, it's really good. We have this challenge chart. This is probably the bit to look at. So we did AA route planner and checked the kilometres between the Spire and Dublin and all the different European capital countries. So what schools could do is they pick the country that they're going to run to. And to make it really easy, what we said is 1 lap of your schoolyard or field or wherever you want. 1 lap, it doesn't matter what size your lap is, equals 1 kilometre. So teachers didn't have to go measuring a kilometre, and junior infants, the 3 and 4 year olds, can run a very small lap. So everybody runs a lap. So my daughter is 10, and at the start of the school year, like, you can do it 2 ways. The whole school can do it during a week or 2 weeks and add up their kilometres and reach somewhere very quickly. Or my daughter's 10 and somebody picked Ankara in Turkey to run to, and so they're still running 4,100 kilometres, and they've got nearly a kilometre of a lap in the school. So the teacher promised them in September that when they reached Ankara, they'd get homework off for the rest of the school year. So she was estimating that they'd get there maybe the 2nd week in June, which is when you finish homework anyway. But it's not looking good at the moment. So the last day, she said, if one of the girls in class was on a camogie team, which is very serious in Ireland, so if the camogie team won, they were getting 250 kilometres off. So the camogie team lost by 1 point. So then she said, if something else happened, so everything that is supposed to give them laps off hasn't evolved. So they're still running. But we can see this on Twitter, and schools love this. There's huge cross-curricular potential. You can pick it up, leave it down whenever you want. So one of our success criteria is that all classes engage in a non-competitive running initiative that lasts a number of weeks. And I suppose we provide them with a free resource with cross-curricular learning built into Active School or to the European Week of Sport. So that makes it very, very easy for them. But equally, if they want to draw a map of Ireland and run around Ireland or run a marathon, they can do that either. But the big thing is that it needs to be continuous, and it needs to be fun. There needs to be no sense of who's first, second and third. Now, let me just scroll down a little bit more. That's their cross-country event. That's their that's Go Noodle. Okay, they've some Go Noodle photos. That's the lollipop stick. So that's what I was showing you there. So they use that quite regularly. Busy breaks they do. That's their playground leaders. Again, that's a key part of the process. And thanks to Healthy Ireland funding, we're now in a position to give schools those playground leader vests, which up to this year we weren't. That's active homework. And I don't know, is Anne gone, but she was talking earlier about how much the schools in her area adore active homework. And so these are the things that our schools are building in over time. So you can see the amount of effort that schools are putting into their website, but they would have put that effort into an application form with 3 hours of writing or a file that nobody saw. So at least the effort that's going in allows them to showcase the work. And I think that's really important. Now, going back to my slides, nearly there, as I'm watching the time. This has been huge to us. So always, at the end of the application form, we have 2 sections. What are the strengths of the process, and how can we improve the process? And I'm going to give you a quote, I don't know what you think of it, but I was listening to a program the other day, and it was saying that Richard Branson, and I don't put myself in his category, but Richard Branson has said, you never learn anything when you're talking, you only learn when you're listening. And that's been huge. So when I say to you, we're 9 years in, and we have a strong model, I hope we have a strong model, we have a strong model because teachers have kind of beaten us into shape and shown us what will work and what won't work, what's realistic and what isn't. So the feedback at the end has really shaped the process. And I think at the end there, I don't have time to go through it, but at the end there's some quotes that schools have sent in to us that we've taken from it. We found it to be inclusive, worthwhile, fun exercise. Irrespective of resources or facilities, there's always ways and means to be an active school. That's a listing of the things that a different school thought. It brought an excitement to the school. I love that one. That's the one that pleases me most. Pupils took up new sports and games as a result of the active school flag process. So that's great. They found something they love doing. We've thoroughly enjoyed the experience. Every aspect has been positive. Not only has it encouraged children to be active, it has a positive impact on staff. We thoroughly enjoyed trying out new activities that challenge the children in a fun and healthy way. So we have so much feedback from schools, and with my hand on my heart, the majority of it is hugely positive. And the negative bit was always the paperwork, and Paul, you can confirm that for me, it was always the paperwork. So we figured out the paperwork, and really it's very positive, the feedback that we're getting. Time is the thing that's coming up, but I think time isn't there. But you need to start the process and delegate from the start. So sometimes time isn't there if it's only one person doing all the work, and that's not the way it should be anyway. It should be everybody spread out and sustainable. So there's other slides there I'm not going to go through, but just how we support schools. So we have one administrator in the office, and she answers the phone and takes the emails. Up until last year, we had only ever one meeting with schools, and that's when we went. There's 25 different education centres spread outside the country, or around the country, and we'd advertise that we're giving an active school flag presentation on such a night, and that was your one opportunity to come and meet us, and our one opportunity face to face to explain the process to schools, and that's all funding would allow. So we're very grateful for Healthy Ireland funding. Have I mentioned that? It's really had a transformative effect. So what we can now do, as well as having playground leader vests and walkway packs and whistles and all sorts of supports for schools, we're also able to do 2 additional workshops in the year. So our September one is to tell schools about the process, similar to today. Our November one is for schools that have decided they're working towards the flag, so they're on board. So I don't need to do the background. We then spend time in a room, and it's schools from the same area talking about, well, what are you doing? What's working in your school? Can I have your phone number and I can check in with you about this? As well as us showing videos and having lots of talk time. So today's very kind of talk heavy from me, but the workshops are much more interactive and group work. And again, the feedback has been hugely positive, and we've had a huge increase in the number of schools achieving the flag this year, a noticeable increase, which I would put down fully to the extra support that we've been able to give to schools. So the March workshop is the Nearly There workshop. So that's for schools that are thinking, well, we're hoping to apply before the summer. Now bear in mind, you don't have to apply in a year, so you can dip into these workshops next year. But we've them quite targeted so that we can focus the workshop on either getting it started or giving you the information or helping you get across the line to do that final push. And then as well, we had last year in one area we were able to give some hours to somebody to go out and work with schools in an area where the numbers weren't particularly high, and we're going to develop that a little bit more this year. But that's really brilliant, and it will help us in the areas where it hasn't fully taken hold for whatever reason. The other things that we find hugely important to us is Twitter. So if you get a chance, and I don't know if you have, to look at @ActiveFlag on Twitter, it's schools showing us what they're doing. And other schools love seeing what other schools are doing. And schools can only do things that don't cost money or don't require a huge amount of time or planning. And that's where the ideas come from. The Active School Flag website, we've tried to put everything in one place. So that information from national agencies, you can find it on our website. And there's lots of case study videos in particular. And I don't have time to open those up, and I didn't open it up earlier because it's Irish teachers speaking, and I just thought the other one was a better one to start with. But what we do is we video in 3 or 4 schools each year, and we break the footage into about 10 short 3 or 4 minute videos. So we'll have a video from the principal, and the principal will talk about the process in a particular way that will be of most interest to other principals. And then we have the coordinators talk, and the children, and the specific initiatives. So schools find out a huge amount that way. And always, because I go out and do the film work with them, it's unscripted, and we let them say what they want to say. So we just feel it's really important that people say what they want to say, and that's the way that it's working. And then we do send out an online newsletter every month as well. So the latter slides there are advice for coordinators. It's self-explanatory. There's some quotes there, and these are some of the resources that we promote for schools, and we've a new one coming for September for European Week of Sport that I'll share with you when it's proofed. And that's really it, other than I might play that last video. Can I? So the last video, I don't know if you've seen it before, but I love this video, and this is my finale video, and I'm not going to talk anymore. I think for me this sums up what the Active Flag is about. Have you seen it? Oh, so you know it. Yeah. That's it. That's I think the point of that is that we just have to find ways to build it into the day, and it's only a couple of minutes here and a couple of minutes there. That isn't giving 60 minutes to every child in the country, but it's better than what's happening at the moment, and it's positive, and that's kind of the approach that we take. Sorry.
Thanks very much, Karen. We're running a little bit behind time because of various different things that happened.